Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to a new season of Country Fried Rock. I'm your host, Sloan Spencer. Thanks for joining us. Quick note before we jump in today, big thanks going out to Will Trapp for helping with the audio on this. I had a microphone issue that I did not know how to fix, and he did his magic with what was a less than stellar file. Thanks a ton. My guest today on Country Fried Rock is Tim Nielsen of Drivin N Cryin. Welcome.
Hey, hello everybody.
Thanks for being with us. I think that longtime listeners of our program know that you all as a band were one of the first bands that I ever knew from prior to a debut release. So I've been a fan for a long time, but this reissue of Mystery Road is very exciting.
Yes, we are very, very proud and excited about this. By just sheer luck, I found the right person at Universal Music, which is a man named Dana Smart, and he's an A&R person for the archives, archive artists. And so he was the guy that completely had the authority to make this happen. So we started talking almost a year ago. My pitch to him was like, let's do a box set. Let's do the Island years and do a box set with all albums with the original artwork. And then he said, well, what do you think of this idea? Let's do Mystery Road, but make it a double album. After that, we'll do Fly Me Courageous and make it a double album. And I said,
nice.
Well, I like your idea too. Let's do that. So I said that we'll put the Peter Buck demos as side 3 and 4 of the vinyl. We'll revamp the artwork and freshen it up a little bit and remaster it and finally finish it. It's beautiful. I have received a few copies of it the other day, and I guess a bunch more showed up at my house yesterday. So they will be shipped out soon, and so it's very exciting.
That is exciting. Well, you actually nailed exactly what my question was, which was, how did you get Island on board with this? But with the A&R of the archives, what a great tale.
Yeah, and I said, can we make it on Island Records? And he said, absolutely, yeah. I was like, that is so serendipitous, It's just cool to be able to have that Island label on there, because Island was the first major label to sign us way back with Kim Bowie 30 years ago, and so it's on Island,
That's very cool. And for folks who perhaps weren't on board with Drivin N Cryin in those early days prior to Mystery Road or Fly Me Courageous, a local label put out the debut of Scarred But Smarter, and then it got picked up as Kim Bowie moved into Island. And if you want to see some background, there's a documentary that came out a few years ago about y'all that has a lot of kind of insider stuff.
Yeah, the documentary is a fun piece of art. We just kind of let Eric von Haessler just do and say whatever he wanted, and it's a cool documentary because you can actually watch it, and it's not boring.
It's definitely a passionate fan film, and I only bring it up in that not everybody knew about you all until the big breakout that Mystery Road ended up being.
Yeah, we were doing extremely well with the local music scene in Atlanta, and then somehow Kim Bowie was landing a job at Island and signed us. And so we put out Whisper Tames the Lion. I think it wasn't until after Whisper Tames the Lion came out that they actually took Scarred But Smarter and packaged it on Island too.
And I guess that the success of significant touring after Whisper really built a lot of steam for the excitement behind Mystery Road. And I know that I was still in Atlanta for part of that, and I moved, I think, by the time it had come out. But the local chatter was all about those Peter Buck demos. And then it ended up, because of schedules and stuff, you ended up working with a different team. But this is the first time, I think, that these demos have been officially released.
Officially released. When we first started out, we had this group of guys that always had these Sony Walkman cassette recorders, and they would record all our shows, and they would trade tapes with each other. Later on, when CDs came out, we're really dating ourselves, but when CDs came out, and they would get copies of live shows or demos or whatever, and make those and trade them. They made up their own little homemade labels and stuff and trade them and sell them at their record stores or whatever. So this is 9 songs out of the Peter Buck demos. I think the demos were actually 12 songs or 13 songs, but we could only fit 9 on the vinyl. Then I think there's a couple of little extra tracks that have been included on the digital package. Yeah.
So then that begs the question, do you also get digital with that?
I don't think there's a digital card that comes with it. I'm not 100% sure. I think maybe the CD might come with digital. I don't know. Everybody's really into streaming now. I don't even know if very many people actually go on iTunes and buy downloads, either stream it or they buy the vinyl.
They don't. I just got back from a big music conference. That was the exact discussion. And essentially it was, whether you like it or not, it's streaming, period, the end.
Yeah.
Except for vinyl, specifically archive vinyl reissues. And that's the most popular physical format or purchasable content, I guess I should say, right now. And so the timing of this was perfect.
Yeah, and that's kind of a cool thing to be able to have that big, tangible, heavy thing, this gatefold sleeve that opens up and got a lot of artwork and stuff in there, and you get records. And
beautiful.
You can go on Spotify or Tidal or whatever and just listen to whatever you want. If you pay $8 a month,
right?
Pretty slick.
It's not the same experience, that's for sure. And this has been remastered. Can you do you have some details about that?
Yeah, I don't really think there was anything wrong with the original mastering. If you play them back to back,
yeah, for an '80s release, it sounded good.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit warmer and fuzzier than the original. Mm-hmm. I think mastering back then, everything was kind of like in your face and kind of brash. But so I think they did a really nice job with it. I think especially the Mystery Road side 1 and 2, it sounds really nice through my vintage stereo gear. And
cool. That's what I'm looking forward to. I have a nice little setup as well. And so that's exactly what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. The old Japanese solid state stuff from the 60s and 70s is great.
That's what I have. Being in South Carolina, I was able to pick up a lot of that stuff about 5 years ago when people were just dumping it on the side of the road.
Isn't that great? There's a couple dudes around that know how to fix it.
Crazy.
It's great when you're like, oh yeah, I got this receiver for $30 and then the guy fixed it for $30. That was amazing.
In fact, I need someone who can help me with I have an old all-in-one from the early 60s with some tube amp issues, and I'm kind of like...
Oh, the console.
Yeah.
Great.
Really, it's super, super cool, but I'm a little afraid it's going to blow up.
Oh, there's guys out there. There's guys out there. You'll find them.
Exactly.
It's a lost art, but there's a few dudes around.
Right. Well, so the other thing that's been exciting for y'all is you've been playing a lot more Drivin N Cryin shows across the region in the last couple of years especially, but it's sort of been ramping up over the last handful of years. How is that working for you all as you've got this exciting new reissue coming out?
Well, we're at the stage in our career where we're just really enjoying the privilege of being able to play music together and be able to see the fans come out and have that reaction and have that connection that brings them back to when they were young and we were young. And then the music is still the same, and it's kind of better in some ways because it's all about the music now. It's not all about trying to be famous or trying to sell million records.
Right.
We're really just passionate about making music and hanging out, and we're all really, really good friends, and we travel around, we have a really good time, and we're just lucky to be able to do this at this stage in our careers.
Absolutely. And it's been great. I've seen y'all a bunch.
The crazy thing is that the Mystery Road project to reissue it was well underway before we figured out that Darius Rucker cut straight to hell on the record.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I just assumed that was a known thing.
No, it was a complete coincidence.
Oh, he's such a good dude, too.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and I found that out, and I was like telling Dana Smart and Amanda Markell over at Universal, did you guys know this is happening? And they're like, no, Darius is on Universal. We'll find out for sure. And, all the clues were there. Like Darius was texting Kevin. He's like, I'm in the studio right now cutting straight to hell with Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean and Charles Kelly. And Kevin's like, yeah, right, whatever. Like, that's going to happen.
Right.
And then we're going to release Mystery Road in September. And then the first test pressing came back, and I was like, it's not exactly what I want it to sound like, so let's do another test pressing. And I was like, well, it's going to delay the release. I was like, okay, well, let's do it right, because the last thing you want to do is have somebody listen to it and go, oh, man, the old one sounds better.
Oh, that's the truth.
They won't be able to tell the difference. So it's exciting. And then we have plans underway to not only reissue more old records on vinyl, but we're also going to be working on a new Drivin N Cryin record this winter.
Yes. So speaking of new, you also have, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher his name, but Lauer plays with y'all sometimes too. Yeah.
Lauer is our new guitar player. He's our guy.
We're
guy. We're done with the temps. We got an official dude. And he's a sweetheart, and he's an amazing, amazing guitar player. He's a genius musician. So lucky to have him around. So cool. Big
fans of our show also are quite familiar with Lauer from prior to him joining Sturgill's band, as well as his own stuff around Nashville. So he's the guy.
He is one of a kind, man. We love him. He plays beautifully.
That'll be very cool. And by the way, Lauer wanted me to ask, if there was a Drivin N Cryin band arm wrestling contest, who would win?
A band arm wrestling contest?
That's what he said.
He did not say that. There's no way.
Yeah, he really did.
I would think that Kevin would. I think there's a lot bottled up in that, dude. I wouldn't want to mess with. He'd be like, bring it on, motherfucker. And he'd be just like, wham.
That's hilarious. But, it's fun as a longtime fan of Drivin N Cryin to see this reissue happening. And it's especially exciting to know about new music happening. I mean, as much as I love the old records and still they're in my rotation on a weekly basis, it's all about keeping things fresh and new.
Yeah.
And that's what I found exciting about seeing y'all play live, is it is still very fresh.
Yes. I just wanted to mention also, we released a compilation of old demos and live stuff a little over a year ago on a Dutch label called Archives Volume 1. And that has just been re-released on Plowboy Records out of Nashville on digital and CDs like a couple of days ago, I think. So now you can get that. Now you can get that on Spotify. You can get Archives Volume 1 on Spotify and on all digital formats, and as well as CD.
I did not know that.
You can go on Amazon and get it or wherever.
Excellent. I did not realize that. That is fantastic to know.
Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of like a cool little thing to throw in the mix.
I've appreciated that some of the shows in the past year have been all ages as well, because, you know, once upon a time, I was that little kid sneaking into the shows, but I took my teenager with me, and, you know, he stood at the show and he was kind of like way too cool for this. But then and I didn't say a word. And the next day, he's a subscriber on Spotify. He had pulled up some of the records and he had them jamming out of his room. And I was like, victory!
Yeah, I feel like that rock and roll may be making a comeback with the kids, the younger people.
I think so.
I think there was a period there where like nobody cared about live music and college kids or anything. All I just wanted to do was listen to DJs and whatever.
Yep.
It's because we've been around so long that we've got people in their 40s and 50s who have little kids, and also people in their 30s who have little kids whose parents may have been listening. I mean, we got like 3 generations of Drivin N Cryin fans. You know,
amazing.
You know, it's just like my parents jam out. They're 70.
My parents are rockers. I mean,
my oldest son is 21. He was at the show last night, and we played at this brewery in Kennesaw, Georgia, and he was just rocking out with his buddy, and they loved it.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Well, I'm very excited to have this finally come out for folks, especially those who've never had a chance to hear any of these Peter Buck demos. It really gives a nice auditory lesson sort of in how songs start and then how they sometimes morph over time.
Yeah, and it's really, really a great album. You know, a lot of times when you make an album, after it's done, you never listen to it. Mm-hmm. At least in my experience with us. But because I was having to listen to it, make sure everything was right, I listened to it a lot of times. I'm like, man, we really did a great job with this record back in 1989. How did we do that? But it's a really, really a great record from start to finish, and it's a great time to celebrate that era. And a lot of those songs are timeless, can play on the radio now, or play car stereos, or vintage techniques, and pioneer turntables.
Tim Nielsen of Drivin N Cryin, we're very excited for this official reissue, expanded edition of Mystery Road.
Yes, very excited.
Thanks for taking your time to chat with us.
You bet. My pleasure.
Tim, how can folks find y'all on social media or internet or wherever?
DrivinNCryin.com is kind of like the crossroads, but I mean, nowadays it's Facebook, but we would really prefer if you followed us on Instagram, because Instagram is the kinder, gentler social media outlet for all you people out there who love to be happy like me.
You heard it from the man. Thank you very much.
Rock and roll.
Be well. Thanks a ton, Tim. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. And look forward to seeing your stuff out there.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us here at Country Fried Rock. Find more of our episodes wherever your favorite podcast is or at countryfriedrock.org. All content is copyright 2017 by Lilypad Productions. All rights reserved. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are Country Fried Rock. If you need to reach out in the United States for 24/7 assistance, call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 800-273-8255. They also have 24/7 chat available at suicidepreventionlifeline.org. I've been making bracelets from used guitar strings that musician friends have been sending me and adding a little medallion on there with that Suicide Prevention Lifeline phone number on it. Giving them to a bunch of musicians over the last few months. They're all different. If you'd like one, shoot me a DM on either Twitter or Insta. They're $15, including shipping. Take care, and thanks so much for taking care of the people you love.
Ever he been helping us some country fried rock.